list thing.
the remove statement. So remove list equals ls. That will clear all the environment variables. Don't forget to save your file. So we'll start with the paste statement. It's very similar to S-encode, excuse me, S-encode, but here I can simply use strings in general. I could use paste. Just make stuff up. Flamingo Field. Good. And I'm going to save that to a variable. I'll call it var to be very creative. To print, simply do print var. Now, here is the catch. Var is a reserved keyword in R. var stands for variant, but even though, excuse me, reserved function, even though it is a function, I can override or overload with a new statement. So it's called operator overloading. So it's possible in R. So I'm going to print, and it printed Flamingo Field. Yes? There is another statement which is paste 0. Paste 0, Flamingo Field. What is the difference between paste and paste 0?
It's automatically include the space in between.
Spacing, right? So when you use paste, it'll insert a space automatically. Paste 0, it will combine without space. Want to take a guess as to what the rep statement will repeat. Going to do repeat Flamingo times equals 3. And print R dot var. What do we expect to get?
3 flamingo.
3 flamingos. Good. Flamingo, flamingo, flamingo. And those values are stored in the variable R dot var. It is an object. What type of object is R dot var? Is it an array? Is it a list? Is it a matrix? Is it a vector? Clearly it can't be a matrix or a vector because I haven't gone over those. So is it an array or is it a list? You can always test in R. We have is functions and as functions. So is dot array false. Is dot list false. Is dot vector true. So what I have is actually a character vector. It is stored as a vector. Now the rep statement might seem quite trivial, but lists, vectors, doesn't matter. But what did it do?
Is that is Flamingo Field one entry in the vectors?
What did you guys try? Did you try?
Yeah.
Okay. So is it a single element or do we have 6 different elements in a list? So easy way to determine is to look at length. A length function simply will give you the length of a list. Gives me 6. So it simply means L dot bar has 6 elements. Flamingo, field, flamingo, field, flamingo, field. And the index in R starts at, is it 0 or 1? 1. 1. So L dot bar of 1, flamingo. L dot bar of 6, field. Good? Yes.
Why do you have the C in there? In line 12.
If I say means a list, right? If you put a list of words, list of elements, you should always put a C. So remember in Maxima, I just defined earlier at the very beginning, A to be 1, B to be 2, C to be 4, or 2, 3, 4, something like that. Right? That is a simple list in Maxima. But here, if you want to define a list, you would define it as C, 2, 3, 4. And you assign it to some variable called up. So slight difference. So rep statements are quite useful.
Is there anything between rep and C?
No.
Just
Oh.
space?
Over here, right there.
Yeah.
Parentheses.
Parentheses.
Rep, open paren, C, open paren. Okay. So let me collapse this. So instead of using times, if I used each equals 3. I get that. So what is the difference between using each versus times?
In times it like highlights them,
Okay,
each it just.
it's like printing, right? So it doesn't collate, or it collates in the sense when you do times, it's going to take the list entirely and replicate it or repeat it. When it comes to each, it is going to take each element, replicate it 3 times, then move on to the next element. Good. CHAR, CHAR is the standard data type, stands for character. Pretty much, lots of languages use the exact convention. So I'm going to do NCAR or Flamingo Field, save it to uppercase N. It counted the number of characters in Flamingo Field, including the space. Space is a character in R, so, and in other languages also. So in total, there are, did you say 14?
Yes.
14, including the space. So, substring is substring. I use frequently, pretty much, so I know these functions better than maximum functions. So substring, you have to give 2 other arguments. I'm going to give 7 and 12. Run. Go fine.
Go fish.
So what has happened?
You just printed parts of the string.
It extracted part of the string
Number 7
and it starts at position number 7, goes all the way up to position number 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, position 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, inclusive. So go fine.
Whatever that means.
So we can change case in R easily. So first we want to create a list with 4 elements, W, using S1, S2, and other strings to print the sentence go fi is now changed to go fi, then back to go fi. So apparently fi is a word, not a good one. So W must contain 4 elements. I'm going to create a simple list. When we get to data structures, I'm going to go over an S3 object, which is a different form of a list. So here, I'm going to do a simple list. The first argument is just S. That will stand for go fi. Just going to change is now changed to. The next argument is S1. Then back to S2. But that's going to give me 5 elements. So I shouldn't have this element. So I'm going to get rid of that here. So I've got 4 of them. So, oops. Got it. So this is what you guys did. You created the list, and as of now, you're just printing the list. You didn't form a sentence. How do we form a sentence? We want to combine words or combine strings. How do we combine strings in R?
Using the paste 0 command.
The paste statement. I want space to be introduced automatically. So I'm just going to define V paste. The first word must be S, followed by W1, W2, W3, and W4. Good. Print B. Good. Now, going to use the same logic. Going to use the paste statement. S would be the very first string, go fi, with capital F, and I end up getting this. So the only way to form the sentence is by using individual elements and putting them using paste. If you did it this way, it's combining all the elements together. So in our colon operator means a sequence. Anytime you do 1 colon 4, it's doing 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. So likewise, if I do 1 colon 100, 1 through 100. If I start -10 to 10, get -10 to 10 integers. Does that make sense? So anytime you put a colon, it's creating a sequence. So just put everything together and it's just giving me a sequence of words, but not combining them. So the only way to combine here using W is to use the case statement in this manner and not that manner. But this is very effective in programming. We'll use that later.